What's up guys, and welcome back to Sliced. Now you're probably wondering why I haven't really posted a lot of Indian Pakistani meals on this channel. I mean, a lot of people ask me that, the amount of conversations I've had where it goes a bit like this.
So Yusuf, I really like your channel. I just noticed you've never made a curry.
Yeah, it's just not something I've gotten around to doing yet. It's not that deep.
Oh, right. I see. It's just that your skin is you're a chef. You should know how to cook this, right?
Yeah, people ask me a lot. I mean, obviously it's a natural thing for me to do, right? No, I'm just kidding. In all seriousness though, over the past year or so, making a curry is something that I have tried to develop a lot. Because even though it's quite a simple thing to make, the principles involved in a curry are a little bit complex. And if you don't understand how to make the curry properly, you'll flop. And so often when a lot of people make a curry, they'll go for a jar sauce, which is disgusting, or they'll not cook out the spices properly. It won't taste like the same kind of restaurant standard curry that you're used to having. But I think I've cracked it with a really, really simple recipe. It's so easy to follow. Yeah, I've waffled enough, so let's get right into this. We have 3 brown onions to start with. 2 of them are going to be for the curry, 1 of them is going to be for the rice. We're also going to need 1 packet of spice mix. I've just kind of left this ambiguous here. You can kind of use whatever you want. I thought it'd be a lot easier rather than just using individual spices. And also we're going to need 2 tins of cooked lentils. That's right, we're not faffing around with dry stuff. We're just going to make it a whole lot easier and go with lentils. You can use chickpeas, you can even use chicken if you want. The same base recipe applies for many types of curry. Okay, and we're going to need 75 grams of rice per person. In this case, we are serving 8 people, and so that's 600 grams of rice, and 1 tin of passata or chopped tomatoes. So starting off with our onions, we're going to take 2 of them and chop them. So just taking the tops off, halving it, peeling it, and you should know the drill by now. I mean, we're going to cut along the onion vertically and then horizontally, leaving small gaps between each other so that you get a nice fine chop all the way throughout your onion. And the smaller you do it, the better they will cook in the pan. And then for our rice, we're going to half our onion, taking the top and bottom off, and then slicing it into these really thin sort of pieces. And that's pretty much all the prep work that we need to do. So in a pan over a medium heat, we're going to heat up some ghee. You can use some oil, whatever you'd like, and add in our onions. And we're going to start stirring them, allowing them to sweat down and caramelize. And once they've gone for a few minutes, you can go ahead and add your spice mix in. I'm using about 4 tablespoons for this recipe. And now this is where people go wrong. They'll just cook it for a couple minutes and then move on with the recipe. No, you need to cook this for about 5 to 10 minutes at least. Really release all that flavor out and cook it until A, the oil has separated, and B, that initial harsh smell has gone and the smell just sort of lights up the room. Okay, I'm sorry, I couldn't help myself. That was such a bad joke. But yeah, so you're going to cook this really nicely, really low and slow. Keep it going as long as possible until it starts to stick. And if it starts to stick at this point, you can go ahead and add some water. And this way you can keep on cooking the spices out without anything sticking. And oh my god, is this what it looks like to cook when you got glasses on? Man, I feel sorry for you guys. Anyway, so we're going to keep cooking this until all the spices have released and all the oil has separated. I know it looks like I'm doing the most, but trust me, you really need to cook this bit out for a very long time. And once you've done that, you can go ahead and add your tomatoes and then keep cooking that. You'll know you've got the spice part right once you add your tomatoes and you start to see oil separating to the top. So yeah, that's going to be your sort of quality point. And once you've done this, optionally you can sort of blend it and make it a lot smoother if you'd like. You can just leave it as it is, it doesn't really matter. You do you. Anyway, we're going to go ahead and add in our lentils, and that is literally it. And that would probably take about 15 minutes start to finish to do. So simple. Anyway, we're going to move on to our rice now. So we're going to fry off our onions in some ghee or some vegetable oil. And once they start to go, you can add whatever seasoning you like really. I'm going very simple with some salt, some cardamom and some bay leaves as well. And this is just going to help to add a very light, fragrant flavor to the rice. And we just need to cook this off for about 5 to 10 minutes, making sure we don't sort of drop any spices out of the pan. And then we're going to go ahead and wash our rice about 3 times just to make sure that the water runs clear. And once the onions have caramelized, you can add your washed rice to this. It's very important that you don't stir it too much at this point because it's going to sort of break the rice apart. You'll end up with something that looks like couscous at the end. You want to have nice individual grains of rice. And so at this point we can go ahead and add some water in. I don't really measure things, I like to use my finger. I think it's the best method. About just under an inch is what you need. For me it goes up to the sort of point, the sort of line at the very beginning of my finger. But for you it might be different, but just go for about 2 centimeters, 1.5 centimeters, it should be enough. Then we're going to cover this, bring it to a boil, and then let it simmer for about 15 minutes, and you should have something that looks like this. I always like to take the lid off about a few minutes before it's totally cooked. As you can see, I'm not mixing the rice thoroughly, I'm just sort of fluffing it up just to sort of see the moisture content inside of it. And as you can see, there's a little bit of water at the end, but that's what I like to see, just so that I can control it. I put the lid back on, let it steam for about 5 to 10 minutes, and boom, your rice is ready. So we're going to plate up here, just putting a little bit of rice per person and some dal. And this is just such a simple, perfect recipe, and it only comes in at 70 pence per portion, which is just ridiculously cheap, to be honest. I mean, it's such a simple, easy recipe. And so if you'd like to see more of them, please like, subscribe, and follow me on my socials at sliced_YT. So yeah, you know what? At the end of the day, I think I've made this recipe super easy. Even if you can't make the rice, just substitute it for the stuff that you can throw in a microwave. It's really not hard. But yeah, after all this, if you really can't make this curry, yeah, order Uber Eats.